like to give you this opportunity to share some final thoughts. Oh, Yusuph is here. Yusuph, how are you? I've been asking for you all the time. How are you, Yusuph?
First of all, apologies. I'm actually not feeling very well to start with, but I joined early, and I've been trying to listen. And thank you very much, Fatma. You have done a tremendous job. And I remember, Fatma, we were together. These regulations and all, making sure that they are aligned very well. So I think he represents us very well, and I'm truly grateful for that. And also, I was trying to see, I think I was not able to speak or anything, but then I realized I was sent a request that I was not able to see. So I was following up as I was on another call as well. So I want to emphasize a few things here. First of all, I'm calling upon everyone to understand the government of Tanzania has joined other East African countries and the world at large to come up with Data Protection Act. And very soon, I believe after all are set, then we will have the commission of Data Protection Commission. All this is initiative the government want to put in place to make sure that the data of its citizens will be well protected by law. But these things should not remain as one of the duty that the government alone should be doing it. But instead, I personally strongly encourage every other user, every data subject should also understand they have responsibility to protect their data and to do better to make sure their privacy is not infringed. And to do so, they might not know things that probably they're supposed to do. So the great one of the initiatives that I'm expecting to see, we started and we are going to have a good number of awareness program that will encourage, I will encourage people to follow up so that at least they can know their roles in protecting their personal data as the government is doing its role by law to make sure the data of its citizens are well protected. Number two, I want to emphasize that the law now has been passed and it's in effect since 1st of May this year. And the final touches for the commission and everything to be in place so that the whole thing will be visible and seen properly. So we can have things done well if we look at, for example, Kenya. I've seen they've been doing a great job, tremendous activities that are ongoing. The other time they were in, I forget the county, they went to Kisii as well and so on. So they've been doing a tremendous job. I think we have other people that have started, so we can always learn from others so that we don't reinvent the wheel. And I believe if this is well done, we are on the right path and we can really achieve the greater things ahead. But also, the last thing I want to emphasize here is to the organizations. Organizations now should understand they need to do better in data protection. We have seen the data controller, the processor, they need to register to the commission to make sure that they lawfully collect and process data the way law explains. So the government should, the organizations should abide with this law, and they should get prepared to make sure they have the right people that they can be able to support or help them to comply with the law in terms of how they collect data, to minimize the collection of data, how they process, how they store those data, the security measure they put in place so that the data of the people that have collected will not fall in a wrong hands and things like that. So all these are very, very important that I would encourage organization as well to be able to start thinking that way, that we have the law in place, which is in effect, and they need to comply with it. So they need to get prepared and see how they can best do their job to make sure things are not going to get bad on them, because we have fines. I don't know whether Fatma, my friend, has mentioned, but we have several fines. People may end up, or organization may end up paying, which is we have I think from around 43 if the company end up disclosing personal data. So around 43 USD to around approximately 600 USD or something like that. And of course, the amount keep on changing. We have several fines. I believe Fatma has mentioned a few of them. I don't have the data currently with me, but we reached up to around 2 million USD plus. Some of the fines reach to that point. So people need to get that clear, and they need to do more to make sure that the citizens' data are well protected with better security measures. We don't expect them to start all over, but they have existing measures in place, so they have to review them to make sure that they strengthen those measures to make sure that they can be able to protect people's data the way they're needed to do so. So I think this is what I would want to say. And apologies once again that I've joined. Sometimes I think from the beginning, listening category. So once I realized I was the listening category, I keep following it up as and good thing or bad thing. I'm not also feeling very well today.
So sorry to hear that, Yusuph. I hope you feel better.
Because yesterday I traveled. Thank you very much. So that's it from my end. If there will be any questions, probably I'll be able to.
Okay, thank you so much, Yusuph. And maybe just for a bit of Yusuph Kileo is a cybersecurity and digital forensics expert. And I think there's some very key points that Yusuph has mentioned about the responsibility of data subjects in the protection of their personal data, and also being active in securing and ensuring that there are safeguards to your personal data, whether you're sharing it, whether it is on your phone, or who has access to it, and taking kind of the necessary steps to do so. And also the need for organizations to do better in terms of protecting data, not just in compliance with the law, but because of, as Yusuph mentioned, the fines that are in place as per the Act. So I think, Fatma, I'd like to give you the opportunity to share your final thoughts. And maybe, you know, what do you foresee for the kind of maybe a future trends for Tanzania in terms of the Data Protection Act? Yeah, so you can share your final thoughts and then we can wrap up.
Thank you, Susan. And I think Yusuph has highlighted very important things for consideration. And just as to maybe my final note will be that I will argue entities, organization to look at the data protection framework as something that could enhance their business operations, something that could increase or give them effectiveness, rather than just something that is going to be a burden on their side. And also, I will say that, as Yusuph highlighted, I think the data subject and each one of us has a role to play to ensure that the law is swiftly adopted. And I think the enforcement and compliance of the law is going to come into place slowly. I think there will be more guidance from the ministry. Maybe I'll just argue all entity and organization now to start familiarizing themselves, to start evaluating themselves, to see how they could incorporate the data protection framework into the organization. And also for data subject, I think it's very important for them to be able to understand. So I'll say we all have a duty to always try and educate or create awareness to the people around us so they can understand why personal data protection and what can they do and how can we collectively ensure that our personal data is safe and secure. So on that note, I'd like to thank you for organizing this webinar, and hopefully we've all gained something from it. Thank you, Susan.
Okay, thank you so much, Fatma. Yes, and thank you also for sharing your final thoughts. And also that, you know, each one of us has a role to play. I think that's really important in how we look at this act, and for organizations to look at it as a way to enhance operations. I think that's a really positive perspective that will help to amplify its integration. Yeah, let me just go to the chat quickly. Rachel Magege says, thank you immensely, Fatma, clear and precise as always. Gichungi Jackson says, great insights into the Tanzanian Data Protection